Welcome, everyone, to a new and improved Trailer Hitch podcast. And Kevin, do you know why this is a new and improved?
Because we aren't going to edit nearly as nitpicky as we used to.
You absolutely read my mind. So our first podcast of the new year of 2021, we set it a precedent for that episode because Kevin was editing that one. He had a lot of stuff going on, and he didn't have as much time to devote to editing as usual. And guess who has that same issue this week, which it's my week to edit? That would be me, Kevin. I have that same issue this week. But that episode turned out really good. And so we've decided that going into these recordings, we're just going to mentally go, we're not going to be editing and all nitpicky about the ums and the uhs and the spaces and the flubs. We're just going to go, baby, and edit as little as possible so that we have time to just relax with our weekend. Because no one's paying us to do this, Kevin. This is for fun. So let's keep it for fun's sake. Huh?
Oh man, I'm sorry. I can't think of anything. Can we cut around this? I'm kidding, because we're not doing that anymore.
So you had me going.
No one's paying us. This is basically just supposed to be for fun. And then we kind of realized, hey, in terms of making sure this is fun, we're also going to do that for the editing process as well. It is going to be a little bit more casual here. You are hearing us with our sweats on at this point.
Yeah, sometimes that does mean that normally we could squeeze in a lot of things that we're talking about. Now, but sometimes we would talk about like 5 trailers, but because of our meticulous editing, it would still be about an hour-long episode. Guess what?
Sometimes we would wholesale cut trailers that we talked about too.
Yeah, every once in a while. But now we're going to have to be a little bit pickier in the front end. Going into recording, we cut a lot out of this episode already to keep it tight, to keep it concise, and to keep it fun and breezy, Kevin, because that's really what it's all about.
Absolutely, yeah. So within these next coming episodes, you might hear a bit more vocal tics than you normally come to associate the stark professionalism of Trailer Hitch with. But that said, don't worry, we're aware of it. Trust me, I'm aware of how many times I said in the middle of my sentences last episode. And once I hear me say in the middle of a sentence 400 times in an hour-long episode, trust me, I take note of it. And for the record, I'm trying to get myself down to an even 325 this episode, and hopefully sometime around March, I should have it down to a reasonable amount. We appreciate you taking this journey with us. And speaking of journeys, James, we got some trailers to talk about tonight.
We have some trailers to talk about. We have some things in the trailer world to talk about. That's a little tease for something we're going to talk about. But first, we have a theme song. So while I am getting my notes together, why don't you guys jam out to some rock and roll written specifically for this podcast?
I know, isn't that so nice?
You can't haul your stuff without a trailer hitch. Trailer hitch.
Feature releases by the movie trailers. We're Trailer Hitch. This movie might totally suck, but the whiskey sure is going down fine. Yeah, we're Trailer Hitch.
All right, Kevin, I teased the listeners about something we're going to be talking about that's about the trailer world in general, but not like a specific movie trailer. So I want to dive right into that. We teased them. We made them listen to that whole theme song. Now I feel like we should deliver on that tease. Don't you think so?
Yeah. Okay, listener, here's the deal. You're going to be teased a little bit more because we still have to intro this thing. I'm sorry. Hi, welcome to Trailer Hitch. I'm Kevin.
Hi, welcome to Trailer Hitch. I'm James.
This is a podcast where we rate and review movie trailers. We rate them on a scale of need to see more, or never need to see. If James and I both give a trailer a need to see rating, we celebrate because, hey, it's nice to agree on something. Then we go see the movie, report back to you guys on a in a segment. We do it in a segment, not on a segment, called Trailer in the Rear View, in which we talk about the trailer in retrospect and then talk about the film writ large. Now, yes, granted, these days, go see a movie is a far shorter walk. It's just to our couches, but we are operating under the predication that we'd be paying the $20 early access fee, just so that way it's still sort of fair and in juncture with what it was like, before the pandemic.
The before
All
times. Right. Before times.
Yeah. The before times, which were almost a year ago. God,
yeah.
James,
I'm
starting to feel bummed. Please, let's talk about trailers.
Well, like I said, like we teased, you have no longer to wait, because what do we have in store for the entire year of 2021, Kevin? Well, it's a lot of movies if you ask the streaming services.
You're definitely right. This is different than from before the before times. I'm still bummed. Damn it. All right, go on.
Okay, so since our last episode, Netflix and HBO Max / Warner Brothers have both released, I would call them calendar year film tease video. Yes. Sizzle reel. Yes. They're sizzle reels. And
by definition, yeah.
Basically what they was just a 2-minute long advertisement about all the movies that you should be excited for that are going to be exclusively on Netflix this year, or for HBO Max. Hey, all these movies are going to be exclusively on HBO Max, but then maybe also in theaters conjecturally because we maybe ruffled some feathers. That's not said in the HBO trailer, but it's implied.
You can practically hear the collar ringing on the other side of the screen.
Yeah. So I just we're not going to review these. I don't know what they called them. It was like 2021 film preview of Netflix and HBO Max. And we're not going to review them because we would be here all day reviewing every single film that they kind of emphasized. Because let's start with the Netflix one. They're saying and committing to that every single week of this calendar year, they will have a new movie.
52 of them. Yep.
That is a lot. And that is a bold claim. And it pardon my feelings on it, but it seems overwhelming to bombard people with that.
Oh God, yeah, no. I think they are coming in under the predication of not every single one of these is going to be a cultural touchstone.
Absolutely not.
Listen, I apologize for offending the people who are stoked about the Kissing Booth 3, but more likely than not, that's not going to be a big tentpole for the majority of the public. So it's one of those things where there's going to be a movie every week, but they are trying to hit every single demographic they possibly can. So yeah, I completely agree.
Absolutely. And they're covering a lot, but they did it in a fun way. They kind of got a lot of celebrities in to talk about like what they love about movies. So it wasn't just like, look at all this crap and be excited. They kind of tried to have like a through line through it to, I don't know, ease you in.
It was like a weird version of, it felt canned and very scripted.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, what's really the talking point is, 52 movies for this year.
Yeah. See, I thought the talking point was Lin-Manuel Miranda owes Halle Berry a Coke. or was it vice versa? Doesn't matter. Look.
No, now that you mention it, I do remember seeing the spinning newspaper headline that says Lin-Manuel Miranda owes Halle Berry a Coke. And I wasn't aware of the circumstances, but now all of a sudden it's clear.
Yeah. Anyway, so in true Jinx fashion, just like Lin-Manuel and Halle Berry, HBO was not to be outdone, and they also released their 2021 film preview teaser. Now, they did not go as far as to say they'll have 52 films streaming on their streaming service, but they did highlight a lot of like really interesting looking stuff, and I was really excited seeing what I saw in that one. Now, there wasn't as much of like a fun, playful through line. They just like took really like it was a sizzle reel in its definition, basically, that one.
Absolutely.
And I think I actually ended up gravitating towards that one more because I think it had more movies that I recognized in it.
Well, not just more movies that we recognize, but getting, I think, more than just like a little half second per movie. Now, granted, sure, stuff like Mortal Kombat, presumably there's not that much done and it's supposed to be pretty VFX heavy. So yeah, we only get Sub-Zero making what I assume is like a star map in front of his face with ice or some shit.
Oh, that was definitely going to be an ice dagger.
No. Sub-Zero's probably going to turn into a good guy in this movie. That's what I got from the 1.5 seconds I saw of that film. Anyway, yeah, I would say that for the most part, you do get more movie out of the HBO Max one. It did feel, absolutely more of a sizzle reel, and I did gravitate toward that one. Now, that said, obviously these are all sizzle reels, which means that if you're watching this and then you see a snippet of something you might be interested or excited by, you get maybe 3 to 5 seconds and then, oh, okay, no, that's done. And then you go into the next thing. And so it's a decent way to announce, hey, we're going to be releasing all these movies on our streaming platform.
Yep.
But that said, not a lot is there to necessarily leave that lasting of an impression, which I can totally understand then why Netflix went the route of, look, there's all these stars.
Yeah.
Because, that way you're like, even if you don't necessarily know what In the Heights is, it's, oh, fuck, kids, it's Lin-Manuel Miranda. He owes someone a Coke. And so, I think it's interesting that they are going this route in terms of here's a way in which we'll announce this. But I think especially if this becomes something that we see more of in the future, like come 2022, okay, how are we going to market it this time? I could see this kind of growing and becoming a bigger thing. And it'll be interesting to see where it grows from here. If
Absolutely.
This is the future of streaming services.
Especially with more and more streaming services on the horizon or just, getting their legs. Like I could definitely see like a Disney Plus doing this, and CBS All Access, I believe, is going to be changing into like a Paramount Plus. I think that's what they're going to be calling that streaming service. They're changing that one. There's Apple TV. There's gonna the more and more.
I'm probably not going to keep an eye out for the Peacock one. It's probably going to be. We still have friends in the office. Please, we're hoping this is enough for you to spend $10 a month with us.
Exactly. So the more and more streaming service come, and the more this seems to be like working. This kind of advertising seems to be working for Netflix and HBO. I think this is going to be a thing that we're going to be seeing a lot in the future, and maybe not even just once a year at the top of the year, but maybe even every like fiscal quarter they could be doing something like this. Okay,
hang on, I'm sorry, I just realized this would be a very mean joke, but can we cut a sizzle reel akin to what HBO Max just did, but do it in memoriam style for Quibi?
Kevin, we're trying to cut back on editing, so no, we're not.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just going to throw that out there.
You're trying to give me more work to do on Quibi of all things.
No, I'm just throwing it out there. If someone wants to make that sizzle reel and throw it on YouTube, I'm probably going to laugh and subscribe to that channel. I'm just saying.
That would be pretty funny. Someone else out there is going to do it. Not us, though, because we have more stuff to talk about. But yeah, that's basically, I just wanted to touch base on this. Might be like the future of advertising for movies on streaming services is doing these montage things for their whole service,
or at least like the announcements for them, because granted, I haven't necessarily paid super close attention to video game adaptation news, but I actually, if I knew that Mortal Kombat was being made, I completely fucking forgot it until I saw the HBO Max thing.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I knew it was being made, but I think it came, like, that news hit quite a while ago. So you'd be forgiven for not remembering,
Shoo!
I mean, not by me. I don't forgive you, but the listeners probably do.
All right, fair enough. Well, hey, while you are chiding me for forgetting that Mortal Kombat was getting a reboot, I understand you had something else you wanted to talk about.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, I think this segment we were talking about this. We like to call this runaway trailer because we kind of just like talk about whatever we want to talk about. It could be movie related, could not be. It happens to be movie related this time with what we just talked about and what else I want to say right now.
Yeah,
we had our top 5 favorite trailers of 2020 episode.
that's
and one of the trailers that made my list was a trailer for a animated movie called Connected.
Connected, yes, I remember.
We got that trailer almost a year ago now, and then the pandemic prolonged everything. And almost a year later, Kevin and I talked about it again. So we talked about it twice on this show already. And I think either today or yesterday, they announced that Sony, which was the production company, has sold the movie to Netflix.
Oh.
And Netflix is actually changing the title of the movie from Connected to The Mitchells versus the Machines. And I just wanted to say that being one of my favorite trailers of 2020, and I almost forgot about that trailer when we did this. And I'm like, was it because it was a forgettable name? It might have been. Connected is I get it. It's clever.
I was actually, I'm sorry to bring some conflict into here, but I'd prefer Connected over the Mitchells versus the Machines.
Yeah, I mean, look.
At least based off of what we got in that trailer, I feel like Connected actually really works as a title.
It works on so many levels because the family is trying to connect to each other, but it's also about like the internet and connection that way.
Yes.
So I get it; it's clever, but at the same time, it was a forgettable title. And in terms of like an animated family movie that you're trying to like get in, like throw out the biggest net possible to get as much people interested in your movie, I think that's a flashier name that could get more people interested.
I don't necessarily begrudge that argument, but at the same time, if we get down to brass tacks, sure, there's a chance that Up would be a forgettable title, but then you see the movie and then you go, oh yeah, no, you can't call it anything other than Up. So, but again, that my argument does mean that you would have had to have seen the movie, which I haven't. So I probably can't put all my chips down on that statement. But
I do like how you're comparing it to one of the greatest animated films of all time. Yeah, that's fair, Kevin.
Which is, that's what you should be doing for everything. If anything, you shouldn't even be doing that for animated movies. Hey, what did you think of Promising Young Woman? Well, it's no Up.
No Up. I'm like, yeah, the creators of the movie are like, we never said it was Up. I think we were pretty clear in our advertisements that this is nothing like Up.
Now my goal is to become a jury member on like the Cannes Film Festival circuit and just have that be my comment for every single movie. Just having like a really pretentious Dutch director and looking him dead in the eye and being like, yeah, but is it as good as Up? And this guy going, no.
I'm pretty sure I had a college professor at Oshkosh who his go-to when something was like really good, he was like, I mean, the only thing that could have made it better is Velociraptors. I mean, that's really the only thing that could have made it better. Anyway, that was Runaway Trailers, everyone. Just so keep a lookout for that. Keep a lookout for the HBO Netflix things, and that's it for Runaway Trailers.
Yeah, indeed. Actually, if that's the case, I'm kind of surprised that Mitchell versus the Machines didn't wind up in that Netflix sizzle reel.
Well, no, I think legally they were still like working out the paperwork in selling it to Netflix.
It'd really bum me out if someone hit post on that Netflix sizzle reel and then someone opens that editor's door and says, hey man, we just got a new movie, so we're gonna have to put it
I mean, it basically happens for us all the time on this show. It's like we record and then like Saturday or Sunday, we haven't hit post yet, but we're definitely not going to re-record our episode. But a big trailer gets dropped all of a sudden. Like, I think we're supposed to get a full trailer for Kong versus Godzilla like Sunday or something. And it's like, well, we're not going to make it. We'll talk about it later.
Definitely, yeah. Yep, that happens. So feel you, Netflix editor solidarity.
Yeah.
But hey, James, this trailer ran away. We are now sans trailer. So how about we step into the teaser trailer showroom?
Oh, I am so ready for this treaser tweezer teaser trailer showroom.
Listen, I also goofed saying it, and now I'm realizing, man, that name is really clever, but it does not roll off the tongue. But we'll just learn to say that a bit more clearly. But yes, the teaser trailer showroom is when James and I want to talk about a teaser trailer. We usually, if we were to do a full review on it, would basically be left to say, oh yeah, that was pretty good, but it's a teaser, which by nature are just meant to tease you, so need to see more, would just be the general through line for all of these. Yeah. Yes, we did have a teaser that we wanted to talk about, and that is Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar.
Hey Barb. Yes, Star. You know what I just love? What? Movie trailers. Me too! Barb, what if we had a movie? What? Then we'd have to have a trailer. Oh, yes, listen, I wouldn't want to give anything away, though, about the movie.
Me neither, especially our faces.
Gosh, I can almost see our trailer now.
Oh, yeah, Kevin. So Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar, okay? So I have something to say about this trailer here real quick once, okay?
Ooh, so I really like when you have opinions about trailers, so I'd really love to hear about it.
Well, I'm going to tell you. So just sit your caboose down and listen. Open up your ears. I'm ready for you. So
okay, I'll get comfy. Okay, go ahead.
So funny enough about Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar. This trailer just dropped within the last week or two. I have actually seen this teaser in front of a movie in the movie theater.
Yeah, back in early 2020. I was going to bring that up, man. 100%.
I cannot for the life of me remember what movie I was seeing. Wait, Kevin, did you and I go see Sonic the Hedgehog and this was before Sonic the Hedgehog?
That's 100% what it was.
That was it. Okay, I was like, if both of us have that memory, what did we see together in 2020? I only saw 3 movies in the movie theater in 2020, so it must have been Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, so it's crazy that this exact teaser is from a year ago, but they never released it online. They never did, because this, trust me, I was watching all the blogging sites, and they were like, there's this new teaser, a couple weeks ago or a week ago, there's this new teaser for Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, and I watched it, and I'm like, I've seen this, unless I'm in the Matrix and this is deja vu. This is the new Black Cat is just watching Kristen Wiig in a wig. I don't
know. Nope. It's not an aberration. I can confirm that. If this is a Bernstein rift, then I'm on your side with it for sure. Something that came up last year.
Yeah, the marmalade effect. That's what it's called, right?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's called the marmalade effect. I would have remembered if it was called something different. Anyway, so
I can't wait to Google it later and go, Mandela.
Okay, so we have the teaser for Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. Kevin, do you want to tell us a little bit about this teaser trailer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So we start on a kid riding his bicycle down an idyllic suburban neighborhood. He is jamming out to a pop song, and he is so into it. And just when you think, okay, I got this, there's an edit, and then, oh no, you're getting more of it. We spend a good 30 seconds just watching this kid vibe to a song. And honestly, it's so charming, and it wins you over so quickly. And then we reveal he's a paper boy, whips a paper, lands on a doorstep, and that doorstep happens to belong to Barb and Star, who talk. And bear in mind, this is a trailer or a teaser where the characters are self-aware that they know they're in a trailer. So they talk about how it'd be so great if they were in a movie trailer and they wouldn't want their trailer to give too much away. Which, granted, sometimes that can get a little bit too tongue-in-cheek for my taste, but what makes it interesting is we spend the entire time focused on Barb and Star's hair. So we just have a shot where you can see maybe like some of their eyebrow, but you're mostly just framed at the top of their head. And then we're cutting back and forth between that. And they are insistent, yeah, if we did a trailer, we wouldn't even want to show our faces. And then we get a montage of the rest of the trailer. They go to Vista Del Mar, which appears to be a beach resort, and we see various other actors who are in the movie. It appears as if Terry Crews is in it. And the movie seems pretty outlandish and silly and fun, but all the while, we never see Barb and Star throughout this entire goddamn trailer. And then
it's bold, isn't it?
It's very bold. We do later in the trailer see the same kid who we saw vibing and dancing to the song in what appears to be a spaceship, and he's vibing and dancing to what appears to be a different song within the spaceship. So this does seem very light and very fun. And the trailer very much wants to put you in the mindset of that kid at the top of the trailer, which is, hey, just vibe with it. Just have fun. Just sing along. And yeah, it's one of those things where it's really hard to talk about this trailer because, again, we don't see Barb and Star in their own trailer. And I appreciate the fucking moxie.
Yeah, by comedic design, it is intended for us to feel like, what did we just watch exactly? How do we divide this out in our brains and try and figure it out? How do we review it as professional trailer reviewers? How do we even talk about this?
Yeah, and it's so interesting because as a trailer, this slaps. You should go out of your way, find this teaser and watch it. But at the same time, if we're talking about it in conjunction with what a trailer is supposed to do, which is like make you want to go and see the movie, on atmosphere and humor, yeah, but at the same time, I don't know a goddamn thing about Barb and Star. I'm guessing they're middle-aged, but even then, I've only seen their hair. And so, yeah, it's interesting because I don't know that much about the two women who are the lead in the movie. And so, okay, I might find this teaser trailer really funny and really bold, but I might get 15 minutes into the movie, get more specific humor from the film and go, oh yeah, shit, if I had known that, I wouldn't have spent $20 on it. So yeah, it's an interesting trailer to try and dissect, especially given the context of this fucking podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, how are you feeling, man?
I mean, I when I was trying to think of it as a trailer, yeah, I was feeling conflicted about it. But when Kevin pitched, let's throw this in the teaser trailer showroom, because that's what it is, really. When I reframed it in my brain as a teaser trailer, that's exactly what it needs to be. It doesn't need to be anything more than this, if you can call it a teaser, which they technically don't. But you know what? The professionals over here, we're calling it a teaser. So you listen to good old Uncle Kevin and Uncle James here. And so I absolutely loved this teaser from beginning to end. I mean, that kid on the bike, you're 100% right. I could have watched 3 minutes of just that. And so that was even a nice surprise when he showed up later in the teaser. It just looked like vibrant, funny, silly, lighthearted, just inspirational too. Like, you get the vibe that these two women are about to make the most out of their lives, which sounds something I can get behind. So I loved this teaser so much. It might be one of my favorite teasers for a comedy that we've ever talked about.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's one of those trailers where the second you sent this to me, I went, no, that was the trailer that I saw in theaters. I instantly remembered it, even though it's been almost a year since I've seen it. And so it definitely made a lasting impression. But granted, we weren't talking about it for the show. But yeah, actually, like sitting down and watching it to dissect it for this podcast, I was like, no, this is actually really notable. And yeah, it does. It makes a lot of really interesting choices. And it's certainly one to hold up in the canon of, here's a way to do a teaser trailer that's really interesting. Because here's the deal. No, it's not always laugh out loud, but it's so strange that you can't stop watching it. And again, James, you nailed it. It's just fucking pleasant too. Like you are compelled to watch it too.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely seek this one out.
Yeah, so I'm excited to definitely seek this one out, but also keep your eyes out for when this actually gets a full-on trailer where we get to see Barb and Star's faces. I'm excited. I can't wait to see their faces, Kevin.
Yeah, same. And definitely keep an eye out for this. It's Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Rey. That said, maybe Netflix will acquire this and it'll turn into Barb and Star versus the sunscreen or some shit like that. But, just Barb and Star are probably still going to be in the title. Keep your mind out. All right. So, James, we had a lot to dissect in terms of just like the macro of how movies are marketed in a post-COVID world. We talked about Barb and Star, which, granted, again, it's pleasant, but there's definitely a lot of heady shit to dissect with it. We have another trailer to talk about. So let's talk about a actual movie trailer in the main drag segment. And I think this one, you could say, is the cherry on top of what we're talking about this week. Would you say that, James?
I don't like cherries. I don't like cherry flavor.
I'm trying so hard to nudge you, even though you're a mile and a half away. I'm trying to nudge your ribs in a kind of fashion.
I don't like cherry flavored stuff, Kevin. Did you hear me?
Okay.
Did you hear me from before?
Okay, that's fair. Do you like cherry flavored trailers?
You know what? We're about to find out.
Because this is cherry, motherfucker.
There never seems to be enough time to do.
You're it for me.
I feel the same way.
I joined the army.
Why would you do that?
Sometimes I feel like I've already seen everything that's gonna happen.
Get on the ground! The one thing about robbing banks is you're mostly robbing women, so the last thing you want to be is rude. Ma'am, it's nothing personal.
She got the way to groove me. But will this trailer have the way to groove me? Let's find out. This is Cherry. It's directed by Anthony and Joe Russo. It is written by Angela Russo-Astot and Jessica Goldberg. This is starring Tom Holland, Ciara Bravo, Jack Rayner, Forrest Goodluck. Our random shout out is going to go to Cesare Booker, who was the Army recruit number 2. Hey, Cesare, good job, man. You're in the movie.
Cesare, somehow we knew we could only see your name in IMDb.
Yeah, I guess that works. I really hope. No, I like how Cesare is now immortalized via song through a podcast. All right.
Okay.
So what's going on in Cherry? All right, here's the deal. Probably shouldn't be making a lot of jokes because it seems like this is a pretty serious affair. We got a bank robbery at the beginning. Someone writes on a dollar bill, "I have a gun," but it's upside down, so he pulls the dollar back, rearranges it. That way, the teller can see precisely that he does indeed have a gun. This is a robbery. And then we start to get some more basis in who this robber is, played by Tom Holland. Now, this was someone who started as we more or less just focus on the high school sweetheart aspect of it, basically like him getting to know his girlfriend and like falling deeply in love with her. But then he goes off to a fight in a war. It appears to be Iraq, and he is back from the war. He has PTSD, and he is driven through desperation to become a bank robber. And this movie seems to be more or less touching on him broken after the war, afflicted with PTSD, presumably with not a lot of avenues in which to help him. And what really distinguishes this style of storytelling is, for the most part, Tom Holland's character is narrating this to you, and sometimes that is directly into camera. So it does feel quasi Adam McKay in that sense. But otherwise, that's what we got going on.
Adam McKay is a great reference because he goes directly into camera a lot of the time, but sometimes it's just voiceover too. So I thought that was kind of interesting that it jumped a little bit here and there.
Yeah. So James, hit us with it. Where are you feeling with this trailer so far?
I think it's really interesting. I think Kevin and I were joking in between the trailers here when we weren't recording. We don't have a whole lot of like jokey jokes for this one. We don't really know how to make light of this one a whole lot. But I'll just like be honest. I thought this was a really interesting trailer. I thought it was really creative. It's definitely drawing on styles that we've seen before. Kevin mentioned Adam McKay, and I think that was really, really an apt observation, Kevin,
Thank
because
you.
I didn't gather that until you said it, and I'm like, oh crap, yeah, that's a definite like inspiration. I feel the thing I take away the most from this trailer that I liked the most was how all over the place it was, and that can be done good or bad. We've seen that done in various different effects on this show.
It's super easy to make that jarring and to feel rudderless as a trailer, for sure.
Yes, rudderless, exactly. And I think this trailer, it set out to make itself chaotic so that you kind of feel like you're in the
mindset
chaotic
of
mind.
Yeah.
But it gave us a rudder in this trailer, and it's just by going back to the high school sweetheart. It's going back to him talking to the camera, and then at different times of the trailer, we're going back to bank robbery. So everything else in between, that's the chaos. But if you touch base with one of those other three things, high school, army, bank robbery, high school, army, bank robbery, high school, army, bank robbery, you're finding yourself anchored somewhere in this trailer. And I think it was done really effectively. And then on top of it, there was this line, this slogan that Tom Holland says. He bookends the trailer with it. He says it at the beginning and he says it at the end, which is, sometimes I feel like I've already seen what happens. And that's really apt because in a trailer like this, we have to be seeing footage from late in the movie. Right, Kevin?
I would assume so.
And a lot of time, Kevin and I are going to call a trailer out on that and be like, hey, you're basically showing us the ending. We don't like that. I think with this trailer, it kind of like hangs a lantern on it. You know what I'm saying? By Tom Holland saying, sometimes I feel like I've already seen what happens. He's kind of like talking about the trailer. And maybe that's how the movie's edited together too. And also the way it's edited, I don't feel like I know what comes first, second, or third. Well, I guess I do know what comes first, second, or third. But I don't ever feel like I'm contradicting myself in the middle of my sentence, and I can't cut around it, Kevin. I'm not going to.
It's okay.
Because it's all about the cherry chaos.
Well, and I think
yeah.
it is. It's a chaotic trailer, and I think that there is a lot that's being thrown out there, and I can completely understand why it's sort of hard to find a perfect through line to speak about it, because I have the exact same issue in quotes, and it's not the trailer's fault. It's just, there's like a lot to touch on here. So no, don't worry about it. There's a zero judgment over here. I'm still licking my wounds because you're yelling at me for forgetting that Mortal Kombat was coming out. So I don't even have the time to be mad at you. Go for it.
Kevin, I'm not yelling at you. I'm just disappointed. Okay.
That's even worse.
So I guess more or less the only thing I wanted to highlight is it was chaotic. Trailers have a hard time making that aspect stick the landing, and I think this trailer did a really good job of making it chaotic, but also making me feel like I wasn't lost, and also that I didn't feel like I saw what the whole progression of this movie was. And it's just going to be about this character at 3 different points of his life, and maybe we got a little bit of a through line with the voiceover and breaking the fourth wall. But I think it's going to be really interesting. And I think fun is a weird word for this movie, but in terms of the style, I think it can be a fun film.
Well, and I certainly appreciate that lightness in tone in certain parts in this, because this is a story that's very easy to play as a very brooding and dark drama, but kind
angsty.
Yeah. But I think the important thing, and really the thing that I'm gravitating to with Cherry, is the fact that it really does feel like Tom Holland is just a kid who is kind of thrust into this situation, not just in being a soldier, but once he's back, he's kind of left to his own devices. And so that's why I really like at the beginning with the dollar where has it facing the wrong way, because it does show this isn't really who he is. This isn't something that comes naturally to him. It's something that he'll eventually learn. And but I did find it really important that when he was giving his tips for robbing banks, him saying, oh, it's usually a female teller, and so it's nice to be polite to them. And it does show that, like, no, you're not a bad person underneath all of this. You clearly are being put in a situation, your backup is up against a wall right now. And so that lightness in the character and that lightness in tone, I think, does provide some really nice contrast for this trailer.
I would totally agree with you. And I like that you brought that line up, because while I think it provides the lightness that the trailer, needs in those moments, that is one part of the trailer that I kind of like took umbrage with, because I was like, you don't have to be rude to men either. He just like made it a point to be like, well, if it's a woman working the counter, you don't want to be rude. It's like, well, just don't be rude. How about that?
Yeah. Well, and also what it is presupposing is, what, can women not handle being rude, Tom Holland? I'm sorry. I think women are strong enough to be condescended to.
Yeah,
they shouldn't be doing it at all.
Let's not blame this all on Tom Holland, but also, I mean, he'll be fine. So we can lay it on. No, I agree with you. And I think it took some big swings, and I think it stuck everything that it set out to do. And I thought it was really interesting and engaging, and I was into it from beginning to end. So
yeah. I mean, I think really the only thing I would have liked to have seen explored a little bit more in this trailer, just because it is very much driven on Tom Holland's character, is you see him sign up for the military, and his high school sweetheart says, "Why are you doing this?" And I went, she's got a point. Why are you doing this? And I do kind of wish that had been dramatized a little bit more in the trailer, just because this was so rooted in showing like, hey, this is just a kid with his back up against the wall who is effectively being put in a position where he knows this is bad, but he feels like this is his only option. And I think dramatizing something like that a little bit more would be good. I will also say, we do get his high school sweetheart in the context of what she means to him. I would kind of hope for, as long as we're calling out that you can be rude to a woman too, as long as we're calling out equality, it would be nice to get a little bit more out of her, because that high school sweetheart doesn't really leave an impression as a person beyond the context of, it's Tom Holland's boo. But that said, for what this trailer is trying to accomplish, which is getting us in the mindset of a kid who is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, doesn't really have a lot of options, and is forced to take a pretty dramatic step in order to feel like he's able to make some headway in his life, I think this does a pretty good job.
Totally. I totally agree with you. All right, review time, Kevin. What do you say? What say you?
Yes, okay. So would we pay $20 to see this, or bother to get Apple TV Plus? So this is maybe I'm a little bit skewed, because I do already have like the free year for it right now. So I am actually going to go ahead and give this a need to see. I do think that this is an impeccably crafted trailer, in that, again, we brought it up and then I think sort of skipped past it. Really, it is impressive that they incorporated so many aspects of Tom Holland's character's life throughout this in a way that did feel seamless, and in a way where I never lost track of what time period we're looking at him in. And yeah, I think that this is a really well done trailer. So need to see for me.
I am 100% in agreement with you, Kevin. This is a need to see for me. Double need to sees. I feel like it's been a while. It's been at least a year. Because it's 2021. Okay, whatever. I totally agree with you though. And in terms of like, would I pay for Apple TV Plus? I mean, no, but that's not our barometer. It's would I pay like a movie ticket price to see this movie? And absolutely, I would. Yeah, this got me. This hooked me, I would say.
Indeed. Okay, well, we are done. We are off to a Willy's Wonderland, you could say. And I should say, because that's the next trailer we're talking about. It's Willy's Wonderland.
Seamless.
The machines got out. We're going to Willy's.
He's not trapped in here with them. They're trapped in here with him. It's birthday time.
I enjoy a man a few words.
It's your birthday, but will you be returning this gift? We'll see. This is Willy's Wonderland. It is directed by Kevin Lewis, written by G.O. Parsons. This is starring Nick Cage, Emily Tosta, Beth Grant, David Sheftel. Our random shout out is going to go to Elliot Boswell, who is the property master. Hey, Elliot, good job, bud. You were the property master on a movie.
Props. How about that? Props to you.
You. Has Elliot ever heard it? I have to assume not. We're just crushing it over here.
That's all right. I dropped a pencil.
All right. Well, grab that pencil, buddy, because we got to talk about Willy's Wonderland. Tell us what is happening in this trailer.
Well, we have, America's sweetheart, Nicolas Cage. I think he's got that title, right? He shows up somewhere in the middle of the desert at a decrepit-looking Chuck E. Cheese ripoff called Willy's Wonderland. And looks like the owner of the joint needs some help cleaning up in after hours. So, hey, Nick Cage is here. He's got a flat tire. He needs some dough. He'll throw on that Willy's Wonderland t-shirt and hop in and just wipe down some counters. No big deal. It's not a big deal. But we also...
What could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? But we also get a very sinister voiceover of said owner after he quote unquote hires Nicolas Cage. Let's get out of here. I hate to hear a grown man scream. So we know some nefarious things are afoot here. And
yeah, at the very least, the Mountain Dew syrup in the soda machine isn't kept up. So, like, he's going to try and have some later. Yeah,
Code
absolutely.
Red.
At the very least.
Code Red. What is this? I hate cherry flavored stuff. Anyway, so he kind of gets started for the night, but then a group of kids show up, and they're basically on a mission to stop whatever evil doing is happening in Willy's Wonderland and let Nick Cage know you are not here as an employee. You were here as a human sacrifice for these animatronic monstrosities. And Nick Cage says the best line in the trailer, which is, well, nothing at all, Kevin.
Nope. Doesn't say a word.
He's silent, and he just goes ahead and just keeps wiping down that counter, and the kids are just like, did you hear what we had to say? Like, shit's gonna pop off. And sure enough, a animatronic ostrich, I believe, walks right up to a sweeping, mopping Nick Cage, and then the trailer really gets started, and we are treated to Mr. Nicolas Cage just going to town with whatever is in his hand on these not so inanimate object animatronics.
Right, exactly.
And that's basically our setup. And it culminates to a wonderful line of he's not stuck in here with them, they're stuck in here with him. And yeah, we get the sense that Nicolas Cage, I don't think, is here on accident. But Kevin, that's my theory. What say you about that?
I would just like to clarify for everybody that this trailer is in fact not a documentary of Nicolas Cage at the beginning of quarantine. This is indeed a feature-length narrative film. Scripted, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
That was something that I had to look up because at this point, like, Nicolas Cage works all the goddamn time. And so that was something I thought of once the quarantine happened was, well, God, what's Nick Cage going to do? And this seems like something he might actually do in real life. But yeah, indeed, this is definitely taking a page out of the Mandy Bugfuck Let's Have Fun book here, and feels like it was basically going to be a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and they went, well, a lot of our basis, like a lot of our player base is kids, so you have to make this PG or PG-13. And then Nick Cage leaned in and said, no. Here's what this movie's going to have. It's going to have blood, it's going to have boobs, and it's going to have me dancing. And the Five Nights at Freddy's people went, we draw the line at you dancing. And that was what made them create Willy's Wonderland. Now, the trailer itself is incredibly fun for me because, again, Nick Cage doesn't say a goddamn word this entire trailer, but you feel his presence. You feel his presence when he dances. You feel it as a mechanical ostrich approaches him, doesn't bat an eye, just starts beating the shit out of it. And that's really, for me, again, I agree with you, where the trailer turns into what it actually is and what it wants to be, which is just this really fun and goofy horror movie that is designed for you to drunk watch. It's designed for you to watch and laugh with.
This would be an awesome drive-in movie theater also to go see this at a drive-in. Yeah. Or like Kevin said too, just drunken with friends is a great. This would have been a great trailer even if Nick Cage had lines of dialogue. That's just a cherry on top. Cherry.
That it all comes together.
That's just like the extra effort that makes this trailer even better. Like, even if he had lines and talked and that wasn't like part of his character, that he was a mute, I still would have loved the shit out of this trailer. But on top of it, he also doesn't say a GD thing in this whole thing. I'm oddly like, I can't wrap my head around who pitched this and who also was like, we're going to get Nick Cage. Well, I mean, what's the script count like for him, you know? And it's nothing.
He's a big star. How many lines does he have? Yeah.
It's like, I mean, would he be interested? He has no lines. Let me check back with him. Yeah, he's interested.
Replied within 5 minutes, he said. Yeah.
So yeah, man. And I'm glad you brought up Mandy too, because while full disclosure, I have not rewatched Mandy since Kevin and I went and saw it in the theater.
Indeed.
After watching Willy's Wonderland, I couldn't help but just like think in the back of my head, like, you've been burned before, though, James. With a Nick Cage, super gory, super visceral, just weird but crazy movie. And then Mandy came along, and I found it mostly boring.
I was about to say, you waiter, there's some art house in my grindhouse with Mandy. Was your reaction to
exactly. And don't get me wrong, I would never say never to rewatching it, and maybe I would get more out of it that second time. But I think we were on the same page, Kevin, that what the trailer presented for Mandy was not exactly what we got. And
I definitely got the vibe that it was going more grindhouse based on that trailer. The trailer certainly got strange, but it definitely didn't capture the space and space is really the word. There are so many pauses in Mandy in dialogue, and so it definitely didn't get that across. So I would agree with that.
So while I went into Mandy thinking it was going to be chainsaw sword fights from beginning to end, I also kind of had that in the back of my head when I was watching Willy's Wonderland. I'm like, this is going to be like balls to the wall, beginning to end, Nick Cage going ham on some robots. And that's what I want. That's what this is selling me. That's what I hope I get, because I liked this trailer a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what distinguishes this to me from Mandy, this is going for kind of a slasher vibe, because those kids who come in order to quash whatever evil is afoot within these animatronics, we have a couple of them start to have sex, and then suddenly we're attacked by animatronics and shit like that. And what I like about this movie or trailer, and what's really drawing me to it, is it feels like it is what feels like a pretty familiar slasher movie. But what would happen if that sort of context, if you just put Nick Cage right in the goddamn center of it, and he's Nick Cage, he's gonna go crazy and just start killing everything.
Yeah.
And that has me intrigued. And so that does get a lot of props for
Yeah,
it.
those kids are definitely bantha fodder. Like I would not be surprised if Nick Cage is the only one walking at the end of this movie.
Honestly, there's a part of me that would be disappointed if he wasn't. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, heck, I didn't have anything against these teenagers. And usually, like, I'm rooting when you go see a slasher movie, you like to see how creative they get with the slasher stuff, but you also want to like the characters enough that you don't want them to die, right? So while I hope this movie follows suit, where like these teenage characters are written in a way where I don't want them to die, but at the same time, we know they're not the main characters of this movie. Nick Cage is the main character of this movie, and like I teased when I first described the trailer, maybe he's not there by accident. And I have like this headcanon, Kevin, of he went to Willy's Wonderland as a 9-year-old kid and just got afraid by one of the animatronics. And then ever since that day, he's vowed vengeance to come back to Willy's Wonderland and put an end to their monstrosity. And that's kind of like where my headcanon's at. I think he is there for a reason.
I appreciate that headcanon. My headcanon at the moment is Nick Cage was going to get a big break in a movie, and then the COVID pandemic happened, and because Nick Cage can't sit still, he did sit down for a second, but then immediately opened the classifieds and went, I guess I'm a janitor now. And that's my headcanon going into this. But for what it's worth, even though you could apply headcanon to it, I think what is here is goofy fun enough that I do think it works on its own merit.
Definitely. I absolutely love this. It's a need to see it for me.
Oh, dude, I'm seeing this. It's a need to see for me!
All right. Cheers. This is amazing. It's been a while, man, since we've just been like loving everything we talk about. Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar, all the way to Cherry, all the way to Willy's Wonderland. We got ourselves a road trip here. And
absolutely, yeah. No, it's been a very happy episode, a very positive one.
Let's wrap it up though, because like we said at the beginning of the episode, Kevin, I don't want to edit that much.
Fair enough. Okay, cool. Well, hey, what did you listening think of Willy's Wonderland? If you had to kill a mechanical ostrich, how would you do it? You can let us know by writing an email to us at trailerhitchmailbox@gmail.com. Otherwise, if you had another method in which you would decapitate a mechanical bear, you can go ahead and send that to us on Facebook. Just search Trailer Hitch Podcast. You should be able to find us there. Otherwise, if you didn't have too much of a plan, you were just going to run, okay, that sounds like you could fit that into a tweet. You can tweet us at Trailer Hitch Pod on Twitter. Or if you're like, oh, I've been training to fight mechanical animals my entire life, look at my knife collection, you can go ahead and send that picture to Trailer Hitch Podcast on Instagram. Otherwise, before we go, we would like to thank several people, because it is not just James and I who do this. Yes, we would like to thank Danny Schmitz from Lost in a Name for the amazing intro that you hear at the top of every episode. We would like to thank Rachel Ashley for the amazing cover art that you see on our various social medias. You can find her work at Mighty Creations on Instagram. We would like to thank Jenny Hawks, our Bad Movie and social media correspondent, for her sterling work week in and week out. And we would also like to thank Casey Clowers for the amazing outro, which you will hear momentarily. But first, fuck, right, we're not doing editing, and I forgot YouTube. So, hey, we're also on YouTube. Just comment on that, like, subscribe, rate, all that stuff. Also, we're on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher and the whole 9 yards. Listen, I'm just too excited thinking about Willy's Wonderland in order to remember all of the social medias. There are so many of them. With that, we bid you all a good night. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Bye! That was great. I'm gonna take off the rain poncho that I'm wearing right now because I'm.
Oh yeah, go for. Wait, why are you wearing a rain poncho inside?
Because Kevin, this is Southern California and it barely ever rains here, and I got a Boba Fett rain poncho from the Star Wars Celebration merch store. So I've just been
Star Wars related. Star Wars related. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now you're really not surprised.
No, absolutely not. That said, I would argue the best way to enjoy it in Southern California where it never rains, James, is I want you to take that rain poncho after we're done recording and just wear it in the shower. Just have that on, then that way you can be like, yeah, dry as hell right now.
You know what? That's
the best way to enjoy it.
That's a great idea, and I'll let you know how that goes.
This is a little inside tip on James Leesky and his wife. I will note, and his wife. So the Leesky household, if you give them a gift, the Leeskys will send a picture to confirm whatever they are talking about. James and I were talking about The Last of Us 2, which is a video game that is incredibly emotionally devastating. So in order to confirm that the end of the game was emotionally satisfying, James sent me a picture of himself crying. There are probably some people listening who might not be comfortable with that display of emotion. And honestly, James, I welcome that. I welcome that display of emotion. Here's the deal. You sent me 6 pictures of yourself crying, all from slightly different angles. And listen, I'm not giving you a note here. Again, very happy and proud of you for displaying that emotion. But the multiple angles I do have to ask you about.
I don't know if the tear got across properly. Maybe the lighting wasn't perfect there. It's hard to tell. Let's try a couple different ones. Kevin, I'm all about getting rid of toxic masculinity on this show. Indeed. So whatever I can do to break down barriers and make men feel comfortable about being just the man that they are, I'm for it, man. That's what I'm doing. And I'll send you 1,000 good crying photos. Not just you, Kevin, the listeners as well. They want it. I'm here for it.